Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Muhammad Fatih lima khuliq wal khatim lima sabaqa nasrul haq bihaq wal hadi ila siratal mustaqim wa ala alihi daril azim. Alhamdulillah, praise be to Allah for this gathering. MashaAllah. You know, Brother Aman, who is the owner of this Mukha cafe, many months ago he tried to convince me to do this, and actually in the beginning I was hesitant for many reasons, but then he kept on pestering, and I'm not say pestering, but trying to convince me and saying like, you know, you should try. So finally I said, okay, Alhamdulillah, inshallah I try. And I think this is something new for me, because usually I don't talk to audience, and I don't know whether I'm shy or I'm nervous or I don't know. Then someone they say that there's a Facebook live. Subhanallah. No, so don't quote me anything wrong. Yeah. So it's you know, few days before I came to KL, and I was like, I was trying my very best to remember which or what is the first experience I had with a taxi driver, because there's so many that I had encountered. So it seems like I can't remember that well, but I guess whenever you encountered a new experience, sometimes you tend to be entangled with the past, because there's so many things that going on and all that stuff. But Alhamdulillah, I remember one quote that triggered me to talk to the taxi driver that made me remember until today. So you know, living in Singapore is actually very fast paced, and a lot of things that people don't see. A lot of people are struggling with their life and whatever that they had to go through, and sometimes we don't even understand why we are in such a state. So I didn't plan actually, but somehow when I look into my bag, I have 2 tasbih here with me, and honestly speaking, these 2 tasbih doesn't belong to me. It belongs to my wife, so you can't ask for me. What was the reason was that this tasbih was brought by my wife in Medina Bay. We call it milk, because at that time was very, very white and she loved it so much. And the guy who was selling the tasbih was saying to us, okay, I give you discount. Oh, never mind, I give you free. So I have few tasbih at home, but I realized that I think it's too big for me, and to be honest, that I lost count how many tasbih I had lost in the cab. So that's how it begins somewhere. So whenever I brought this tasbih the first time I brought this tasbih, she always warned me. She said, if you're going to lose it, you watch out. Right? So, you know, and this is another tasbih that a beloved brother named Sidi Ashik, he brought for me when he was studying in Fez, Morocco, and it's outside the maqam of Sheikh Ahmad Tijani. It's also for my wife, because mine I lost it. So I think maybe I lost more than 7 tasbih. I think so. Alhamdulillah. So they told me like, whenever you lost a tasbih, that means it's accepted. So I said, okay lah, I take it with an open heart. Alhamdulillah. So I don't know, because usually when I was in Medina Bay, this is what happened. We have Ustaz Said here, mashallah, and Ustaz Omar. They both studied in Medina Bay, and Ustaz Said was at one time teaching in Darul Mustafa also. Alhamdulillah. So Allah bless them and give them help in Malaysia, mashallah. So when I was in Medina Bay, one of the things that I learned from Sheikh Mahi, who is my Sheikh, is that when they give you tarbiyah, which means spiritual training, that you always do within a certain time. Me and my wife at that point in time, we were doing every now and then, we were following him, because every waktu there was some zikir that we need to accomplish, certain sets of number. And so one day I was sitting with Sheikh Mahi, and I was asking him, Sheikh, after this Solat Isha, I want to stay behind with my wife in the mosque. Although she was in the women's section, I was in the men's section, and I said, I want to complete this zikir first before I go for dinner in your home. So what happened is that Sheikh Mahi is a man of community. So usually at night, when we finish Isha and the zikir or wazifa, I think almost the whole neighborhood will come to his house for dinner. The whole neighborhood, seriously. They will eat all the good food that he will serve without expecting anything. So we thought we wanted to finish there. So when we were doing, then suddenly I saw like the whole beggar coming into the mosque and chasing after me and my wife. Being Asian, you like so terrified. Then we were running away, and then they were starting to close the mosque and all that. So when I went back to Shemai's house, and he smiled at me and he said, "Do you finish your zikir?" Then I said, "No, Sheikh." He said, "You can do your zikir everywhere and anywhere." He said that. So upon that, usually when I came back home in Singapore, and the advice that he gave to me was that God is closer to you wherever you are, whether you are in Senegal or whether you are in Singapore. So, being someone who always mismanage your time and always in a rush, so usually whenever I hail a cab, because I need to rush. I'm a rushing man, not like my wife. She's very, how you call it, tertib, very disciplined. So men, we always the opposite. So whenever I take a cab, usually I will say, I want to go to this place, and that's it. So I will look at the time and I will say, okay, I need to do zikir, and I have to do this zikir. So that was the thing that started the whole thing with me, and that's how I get to lose a lot of tasbih along the way. So one day, I remember, because it was a quote by Sheikh Mahi. So one day I was in this cab and I was doing this zikir without expecting anything, because usually I do zikir, I know that this driver will get me to somewhere, to where I want, that I requested, the destination. And that's it. I'm going to do my zikir and I'm going to log out. Zone out. And I'm not going to focus on anything, because my main concern is my wirid and all that. So when I was doing that, he didn't ask me anything. So until I put down my zikir tasbih and I start to look down, and I just keep calm, and he saw that I didn't, pull my beads and all that. And then he started to ask me, he said, "Brother, can I ask you something?" I said, "What is it?" He said, "Were you doing meditation?" Then I said, "Yes, I'm doing meditation," because I realized where he's coming from. He's not a Muslim, and he's Chinese, Singaporean, so trying to relate to what he was talking about. And he was saying to me, like, because that journey at that time, I remember it was a heavy traffic because there was an accident. So we were in the I think we were in the whole thing, the traffic jam was like maybe 50 minutes to 1 hour. So for taxi driver, there was a lot of things, because you need to make a lot of money to cover your rent and all that. So he said to me, how is it that you are able to have that stillness? Because my experience in driving people, Singaporeans especially, at this time, they will be very angry, they will be upset, or they will scold you, or they will say nasty things to you, but it seems like you don't really care. He said that. Then I don't know. I just said, he said something triggered me. He said that, and that taxi driver, mashallah, 3 months ago he embraced Islam, and I'm one of his friends because he doesn't have many circles of friends as Muslims. So he was asking me, can you teach me how to have that stillness? That stillness, he said, when you confront the tribulations in your life and you realize that you are not in control, how is it that you are able to face it with an open heart? Then I said, if you want to do something like me, you have to believe something what I believe in, right? So I give him an example of Laila and Majnun. I say, Laila and Majnun, he doesn't know, of course, but I just give him just a rough idea of what it is. He said, if you love someone so much, you will always mention the person name. It's like, I love Ustaz Said here, I say Said. Right. I give him, Majnun always mention the name of Laila. I said that. And he said, like Laila. Everything he see was Laila. So he was absorbed by the remembrance of Laila. I said, that kind of stillness require more than just sitting down and closing your eyes. So he said, he go further. He said, and he jailbreak. He jailbreak beside the what we call it, PIE highway for you people, highway. So he just jailbreak, and then he said, so if what do I need to get in order for me to have that stillness? So I want what you have. He said, I've been working every now and then. I have been working every night and morning, and to think that this is my life, but this does not make me feel that I'm secure. So I'm looking for something. Then I was saying to him, sometimes when you close your eyes, what do you see? He said, I see nothing. So what are you then when you close your eyes? I said, I see nothing. Then I said, if only you know something that can connect to you, to the reality of this life, that you begin to know that you are not in complete control of your life. And that's why he said, okay, get this started now. So where I can read these books, what can I do? So I said, in Islam we have Sufism and we have zikr, and we call it zikr. And zikr is meditation, right? So meditation in Islam, of course, is good if you do it in a mosque or in a zawiyah or in your home. But I said, my teacher, he taught me, my shaykh, he taught me, do zikr wherever you are, because Allah is present, but you are the one who is absent. And upon hearing that, he said, can you teach me to be a Muslim? So I said, okay, inshallah. So we became friends. And we meet once in a while, but I always ask him to go to Wardah books and library and get him the right kind of books that may be suitable for him. And in fact, I give him, a lot of books on meditation in Islam, zikr and all that. So along the way, I realized Allah had given him hidayah. And one time he messaged me, he said, I want to be a Muslim, just like you. And I said, okay, Bismillah, inshallah. So that was the first experience I had. I say I'm not too sure whether it was really the first experience, because I lost my tasbih so many times. But this is the first kind of experience that I still remember. There was another taxi driver. He used to send, we live in a multiracial society like Malaysia. So one day I was about to go to zikr, and he said, are you going to the mosque? I said, no. So where are you going? I said, I'm going to a place where we remember God. Again, he mentioned the word meditation. So I realized that, wherever we are, whoever we are, I think people are looking for something in their life, whether they are Muslims or they are not. And how I was able to connect with them, I simply felt that not because I'm good or better or what, but I realized that we have to listen to people first, and then later on, inshallah, we will get to what they are looking for. And most of the time when I say to the taxi driver, I will say, I can't give you what I have, because you have to experience it yourself. And that's what my Shaykh taught me. He said, whatever you see in Sufism, and whatever books that you read in Sufism, you have to experience it. And how you experience it, let Allah break it upon you. So one day I was in a taxi with this driver, and then he was driving around CBD area. CBD area is where, all those yuppies, or not say yuppies, sorry, all those office and career, banks, tall buildings. So he was asking me, because I came out from the mosque and I had tasbih. At that point in time, I wasn't doing tasbih, but I was just holding, and I wanted to put in my bag, but then he said, hey, what is that? I said, this is beads. Say, we Singaporeans speak English. So he said, beads, can you show me? So I show him, and he hold that beads is gone, I give to him. So he really like it. So I said, okay, you take it. But it's not this, thank God. Right. So when that was the time when he asked me, he said, is this the reason why Muslims are always contented in regards to whatever happened in their life? And I said, contentment is something that you cannot be theoreticalized, but it's more of being nurtured. And one of it is to remember God. That's what I said to him. And then I said, this is where I quoted my Shaykh. And I said to him, no matter how much money you have, you will never be satisfied. Because what is satisfaction for the soul is different from the self. And I said, how do you define yourself and how do you define your soul really matters. I said that to him. And that's where he said to me, like, can we have a coffee? So I said, maybe another day, because I'm rushing, I'm going to somewhere else. So we met the next day for breakfast. And he was talking to me, he was in tears, and he was saying, like, bro, sometimes I just do not know what to do in my life. I earn not bad. As a taxi driver, I can pay my rental, I covered my house loan, but there's something missing in my life. Then I said, I don't know. And he said that when I saw your beats, and when you give me your beats, I felt that there was something that has its connection. And that's how he said, tell me more about meditation in Islam. And that's why I was talking to him about La ilaha illallah, astaghfirullah, what it means, and why that this zikr matters besides our salat, and how this zikr enhance our salat, and how the salawat is the manifestation of the light of the being that in you. And alhamdulillah, he embraced Islam. And a lot of people after that, some of my friends met him also, and many people was asking me, like, can you teach us how to da'wah? I don't know, I said. I seriously don't know, because I'm not a scholar. As Brother Helmi was mentioning, I'm more mud rock. So, my wife said the other day to, mud will always be a mud. So one day I also I don't know because my taxi adventure or taxi experience has always been not really me wanting to tell people about God, not wanting me to tell people about Islam. That was not my intention. And the whole thing is about friendship with someone, the bond that we have as a human being. I still remember another story that very profound in my mind was that there was this guy, a taxi driver, he loved rock songs, and I also love rock songs. And then he was playing he was playing Dio. I don't know whether all of you know Dio. They say Dio is devil in the ocean. I also don't know whether. So Ronnie James Dio, yeah. So he was playing this song. What song is it? I forgot. One of the songs that I grew up with, all the mud rock. So while he was playing, I was humming to the tune. So he looked behind and said, "You know the song?" I said, "Yeah, I know the song." Say, how you know the song? Say, I listened to it when I was growing up. I said, okay. So you know the band? I said, yeah, I know the band, Rainbow, Dio, Black Sabbath. And he was like mesmerized. He said, finally I met someone, I can talk to. He said that to me, usually my passenger always scold me. But you, wow, you have, I entertain you. He said that. I said, yeah, you entertain me. So along the way, he was asking me about what you think of music and all that. So in the end, we talked about the lyrics. Then I was sharing with him what was my view about all those songs that play by Dio and Rainbow, Black Sabbath. And I was saying that how these people were reflecting their state while they were doing the music. And he was like, wow, how come I didn't think of that? I was like, okay, now you know. And through that, he said to me, can we have a coffee? He said to me, he said, can we have a coffee? I said, at that point in time, I can. That moment, I can. So he instead of sending me somewhere, we went for coffee and he said, you don't need to pay the meter. I said, never mind, I sponsor you, he said something like that. So we sit down and we keep talking about music and and I was telling him that how music has a lot of influence in our heart, in our soul. And I said the real music is actually zikr, because the heart and the ears are actually inclined to rhythm that remembers Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that caught his attention. To cut story short, it's going to be very long. So one story is like 2 hours. Yeah, sometimes I sit with them like 2 hours. I say, dude, I'm going to go pray, So I'm so sorry. So, so that's how from heavy metal music we get to know each other. And he just sat with me and he said, of course there was at Sultan Mosque and Azan came. And he said, you're going to pray. And he said to me, you're going to pray, why don't you pray first? And you pray for me. Now after we talk about Black Sabbath, Dio and Rainbow, and then I would say to him, the song Rainbow in the Dark is about you. I said that. I don't know why I said that, but I said to him, it's like, Rainbow in the Dark is about you. And then he was stunned. So I went to pray. It's like anti-climax. Rainbow you, then I walk away. So we prayed, and when I came out of the mosque, he saw that I was putting my this tasbih into my pocket. And we went to Sarbat for Teh Tarik, and then he said, when you said that the song Rainbow in the Dark was about me, and I googled and I saw the lyrics and I contemplate and I saw your tasbih, somehow everything linked, he said. I said, wow. I said, wow. And he said, can I hold your tasbih? I said, yeah. And then he was holding like 5 to 10 minutes. He was like, doing this and that. Then he said, how you guys do this? How does this work? So I said, you have to I said to him, in music, it's a rhythm, where some of the rhythm are repetitive. To somehow, I'm not saying hypnotize, but somehow immerse, or I don't know what's the right word, maybe some of you can correct me, like the immersion, like you absorb in it. So I said, this is what the beats are for, because the beats are a tool or a catalyst for you, or means for you to be absorbed in who you want to remember. I said that to him, and he said, you think who should I remember? He asked me again this question. I said, I don't know who you want to remember. You want to remember your mother? I said that to him. You want to remember your wife? He said, I don't know you. I said that to him. I'm just being upfront with him, but at the same time, I know where he's getting at, because he's looking for something like so many people out there. And then in the end, he said, I'm looking for something that you are looking for. And then he said, actually in the end he said he want this. But I said, no. This one I cannot. So I show him there's one stall, there's Jamal Kazura, and there are a few more stalls there where they sell cheap tasbih. I said, you want that one? I can give you. This one cannot. My wife will kill me. I said, yeah. So I said, no. So in the end, he keep on talking, and then he said, how about this song and that song and this song and that song, and we goes on and on until Maghrib. And then Maghrib, I said, I go to pray. He said, okay. And he stayed again, and he's taxi driver. I said, dude, you're not gonna go, you have to pay your rental, you have to say, never mind, today I off. I said, you okay? And he said, no, I just spend time with you. My life is full, filled with everything. I was taken back, actually. It was like, wow, who is this guy from? So after I Maghrib, and I was sitting down with him, and I was just doing something, he was drinking, drinking teh tarik lah, obviously. So he was doing zikir, and I was doing a bit of zikir, and trying to calm myself down, and trying to listen to him. And in the end, he said, whoever called the azan just now, he didn't say azan, but he just said, whoever called the prayer just now, he said, maybe that's what I'm looking for. I said to him, you sure? You sure? I said, ask your heart, because I do not know what's in your heart. And that's why he said, maybe it's time to go home. And that's how he sent me back home, without me paying any single amount. And along the way he said, bro, I think too much, but I think I found something today, and I really want to learn more from you. I really feel that, things don't happen in life just for the sake of, things don't happen in life just because it happened. There must be something behind everything that happened. Then I said, now you're talking. I said, okay. So later on, in few months later, because I didn't get to him, and he was very busy, working and driving and all that stuff. And in the end, I think early this year, where he messaged me, he said, I need to see you, and I really need to see you. So I said, okay, we see. And that's why he said that, can we meet at the Sarbat? And the reason he said that he wanted to meet at the Sarbat was because he said, I want to hear the azan. Right? And in such a state that after listening to the azan, and he said to me, now I want to learn Islam, and I want to really thinking about going to God, and I really hope you can help me, he said that. And I said, inshallah, we can help each other. And that's how I became one of his witnesses also in Darul Akam, and when he requested that, I became his witness. Yeah, alhamdulillah. I think, is that enough, or you want more story? Because I don't know whether I'm making bored, all of you bored, See, this fellow talk about himself, Right? Yeah. Even I really don't know, but I learned a lot from my sheikh, how he treat people and how he live with people. I mean, how he deal with people. And I realized one of the things that whenever I met taxi driver or anyone, there was one time I was doing brisk walk. I think some of you know I brisk walk and all that stuff. And also sometimes I was doing my zikir, my lazim, or my zikir and all that. There was once I met a prostitute, really a prostitute. So I was sitting on the staircase, and I was trying to finish my zikir because Maghrib is coming in, and I said, I'm going to finish this, before the sunset. So when as I just finished, I saw this lady. She was wearing mini skirt and high heels, and she was just beside me, because that area is really a pub area. And I didn't realize it because I walk, I didn't realize it in the town area. So suddenly she is a Malay. So she said to me in Malay lah, he said, very nice, your tasbih is very nice. She said to me. I said, you want it? Of course, it's not this tasbih, another tasbih. I given a lot of tasbih, alhamdulillah. He said, you want it, you take it. So she was stunned. And she looked at me and she said, you sure you giving this to me? I said, yeah, I'm not insulting you, but I said, if you think this is nice, take it. It's for you. And she looked at me like, okay. Then suddenly she said to me, can you make dua for me? And it goes on, and she started to talk to me about how when she was young, she was abused, she was sexually abused, physically abused, and she was trying to find a way out, that she couldn't let go of her resentment of her past, and to the extent that she thought by being rebellious it helps her, and that's how she ended up being a pros. But subhanallah, last year Ramadan, she took my number, and my wife was very nice lady. She said, so we exchange, trying to motivate her. And last year Ramadan, she said that I did my first Fajr at Masjid Ba'alawi. I said wow, alhamdulillah, mashallah. And I said to her, do you pray for me? And she said, of course I pray for you. I thank Allah for you. I said, alhamdulillah. So that was one of the things that I experienced. And I think another important things that I learned about my life was that, how I learned about all this in dealings with social issues and people and taxi driver. It's also part of Sacred Power of Love. And when I started Sacred Power of Love, me and my wife, we didn't expect a lot of people from broken family, broken lives to attend. And along the way, or along the years, we had a very good scholar who's good in dealing with social issues, like Sheikh Abdul Aziz Fredericks. I think he's here, right? I think some of you may know him. And I learned from him how he guide the way how we talk to people, how we engage, how we react with social issues, and how do we go about with people. Subhanallah, alhamdulillah, this is a blessing. And you want me to go how long? Help me. How long? So another thing that that really touched me was that when I was in this taxi, it was also a traffic jam at the peak hour, and I was from a good friend of mine. His mom passed away, and we were at ziarah, and we went to the grave, burial, kebumikan and all that. So I was with my wife, left earlier. So we had a staycation because she wanted to rest somewhere. So I was like, oh God, now what time? I have to rush. So I grabbed a cab, and we were caught in a very heavy traffic jam. And I think that traffic jam was like 2 hours. Singapore, 2 hours. It's like from one end to one end, but I'm still there. So he looked at me and he said, from the time you enter my cab and until now, you're busy praying. What is this? He said, what is this? You are not even in a state of, I don't know whether the right word is anger, but he said you are not like cursing or saying any vulgarity, because he said he always kena from all these passengers whenever things go haywire in their journey. I just smiled to him, and he was like, bro, what are you doing? And at that point of time, I was saying this zikr. He said, this is part of Islam. I said, yes, this is part of Islam. And straight away he said, I want to be a Muslim. If this is Islam, I want to be a Muslim. He said that to me. And I messaged my wife, I'm sorry I'm late, someone want to be a Muslim. And then she was like, lame. So she replied back to me, she said, lame. Okay, fine. So until she know that, oh, it's true, this guy. I think another case was that I was in the taxi. I can't remember exactly the story, and this is the reason why I didn't start with this story, but this story is one of the profound experiences that I had or encountered in my life when I was in a taxi, where this guy, he just about to divorce, and a Chinese guy, nice guy, he was about to divorce, and he couldn't find a way out of his, I'm not saying depression, but maybe grief or sadness. Whenever you go through certain things that is unexpected in life, you tend to feel, things are very hard done for you. So I was talking to him. I can't remember exactly, but I remember that I said something to him. I said to him, may God help you and may God ease you. And then he said, how can God give me this when I don't remember God? And he's not a Muslim anyway. So I said to him, now it's time to remember him. And then he stopped, his taxi just stopped, and he started to cry. He cried. I said, for one moment, he said, you said that now it's time to remember God. And I just realized that I'm powerless. I'm hopeless. And I said, that's what the journey to Allah is about. It's not about you, it's about Him. And if you think that miracle is where God has to make you escape and triumph upon your difficulty, you're wrong. Because in the end, all of us are going to die. I mean, when I said to him, I said, you and I are going to die. And what state are we going to die? We don't know. But the fact is that if we are shukr, in a sense that we realize that we are not in control of everything, we know that the reality of happiness is something that is unseen, but we are connected if we remember. Because I couldn't say Allah, because he is not a Muslim. And that's not my style. My wife knows me, and it's not my style of saying like, Allah is this, Allah, no. Because I like to talk to people as a human. Because in the end, we have a soul. We need to connect to each other. But unfortunately, most of the time, we look at each other through physical appearances rather than the soul. Because the soul is something that you can't see. Right? The soul is something that is beyond us. But the fact is that when we want to connect to someone, we need to be moved from the veil, because in the end you see that they are also human beings. They are also struggling like us. They are also facing real life crisis. They are losing anything, a lot of things. And I said to him, I remember I said to him, it's like, if tomorrow you're going to die, who can help you? I said, I'm not talking to you in a point of religious perspective. I'm talking to you about in human perspective. And I said, if you're going to die, who's going to help you? And now someone is leaving you and you're losing hope. And I said, because you are being identified by that someone. Because you're so used to that someone and you lose that. And just because of that, he stopped and he talked to me and he said, what is the best zikr that you can give to me? And then I said, you must believe in what I believe. I'm not forcing you and I'm not, asking you, but we have to have that conviction, because in the end, what matters the most is sincerity. Because what flows in our heart is the love that illuminates our soul. That's what I said to him. He said, I want what's in your heart. He said that to me. And I said, Inshallah. And we became friends. And he didn't embrace Islam, but I think 2 days ago when I was about to travel here, and he messaged me, said, bro, it's been a long time since we met. It's been a long time since we had coffee, nasi lemak, whatever lah. He said, I want to meet you and, I want to share something with you and I want to tell you something. So I don't know what is it. So inshallah, we pray for him and the people around him. And most of the time, I'm not a person who, as I said, that I like to force people or convince people about Islam. I'm just talking to them about being human. And I don't know how it works for me, but that is how I always relate to them. Just like 2 days ago when I was in the plane and I was doing zikir, because I also have this phobia, flight phobia, turbulence and all that. I had worse turbulence with my wife before we went to Penang, right? Yeah, we went to Penang and we had 1 hour and a half of turbulence and we thought we were going to die already also. I saw her face, she was so pale and we hear all the screaming. So that somehow, trauma. So that's why remembrance of Allah has that significance. So I was doing my zikir and I was doing this, and she's a Filipino. She's a singer in a pub. And then after I finished, we take off, and right after I finished, and she turned around and she said, excuse me, you doing meditation? She also used the word meditation. I said, yes. Islamic? I said, yes. So I thought she was saying something that is like, oh my God, what's happening? Then she said, when I saw what you did, I felt calm. Because I had a huge problem right now with my boyfriend and family, and I do not know what to do in my life. So when I pulled myself to Malaysia because I do not know what's here for me anymore, blah blah blah, she said. But before I board the plane, I said, oh Allah, and he said Allah lah. He said, oh God, show me how to remain calm while I face this tribulation or this test. And I saw you. And when I saw you doing it, I saw you close your eyes, and I saw you mentioning God. I know, this is what I need. But we became friends again, but of course, it's not the same story, like everybody has to be on the same journey. Yeah. But again, as I said, my experience at Sacred Power of Love helped me so much also, how to understand everyone differently. Because I learned how we go about with people, and I think the most important thing is the ability to listen. Because once you listen carefully, you are able to respond appropriately, right? So inshallah, anything, I can go on, but I think I will bore all of you. You see, go. So, oh my God. Alhamdulillah. Thank you for the host. Can we read Fatihah for Aman? He's not here, but he was the one who always been wanting to have this event. Allah grant him complete healing. Allah put barakah in Mukha Cafe. and put barakah in your life and everyone's life, and give us love, the real love from the heart, that we can connect to each other and connect to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala through the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Al-Fatiha. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you everyone.